All right, get ready to dig in. Today we're deep diving into sustainable agriculture in Kenya.
Oh, yep.
Specifically, all about the world of nano biofertilizers.
Sounds cutting edge.
You send us a ton of information on this, company reports, market analysis, we even got operational plans.
Wow, the whole shebang.
Looks like you're really into this
Yeah, so are we.
well, it's a hot topic for sure,
Yeah.
especially when you think about all the challenges Kenyan agriculture is up against right now.
Yeah, like what?
Well, soil depletion, it's a massive issue.
Right.
And it kind of forces farmers to rely on these expensive chemical fertilizers.
Which, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think those are the most eco-friendly solutions either, are they?
They're definitely not ideal.
Right.
And on top of all that, Kenya's population, it's growing fast.
It is.
Which means they have to find ways to, really increase their food production.
And fast.
Exactly. And when you look at traditional fertilizers, they're kind of hitting their limit.
Yeah, they're not exactly the most sustainable option, are they? Not really, no.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step?
That's where these nano biofertilizers come in.
Okay.
And what's really cool is they're using nanotechnology
Oh, wow.
to make nutrient delivery way more effective.
Okay.
So instead of just blanketing the whole field with chemicals,
Right.
it's about targeting those nutrients, sending them straight to the plant's roots.
So it's like precision nutrition for plants.
Exactly. It's all about giving them exactly what they need, where they need it.
I like that.
And the specific nano biofertilizer we're looking at here, it's actually made from all organic materials.
Oh, so it's all natural.
Yeah, but it's not just about being natural.
Right.
It's how those materials work at the nanoscale.
Okay.
These tiny nanoparticles, they actually enhance absorption.
So the plants are actually getting more of the good stuff.
Exactly. They get more bang for their buck, so to speak, and way less is wasted in the environment.
That's a win-win for the plants and the planet.
Absolutely.
But let's get practical for a second. What does this mean for the farmers, for their bottom line?
Well, from what I'm seeing in these sources, it could mean they won't have to rely so much on imported chemical fertilizers.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, especially when you consider the global market, how
Mm.
prices can jump around, and then there's transportation costs and all that.
Yeah, it all adds up.
And then you've got healthier plants, which means potentially bigger harvests.
For crops.
Exactly. And ultimately, that could mean more money in their pockets.
This is starting to sound like it could be a real game changer.
It has the potential, that's for sure.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, is this all hype, or is there really substance behind these claims?
That's the million-dollar question, right? But based on what I'm seeing in these sources, it looks like this company is going beyond just product development.
Oh.
They're thinking bigger picture, a whole comprehensive strategy.
Like what?
Well, it's not just about market penetration. They're also factoring in sustainability
Okay.
and social impact, which is really interesting.
So it's not just about selling a product, it's about changing how agriculture is done in Kenya.
Exactly. They're talking about creating these nano biofertilizers that are tailored for specific crops
Okay.
and soil types.
That's really cool. So it's not one size fits all.
No, not at all. Imagine maize in the Rift Valley gets one blend,
Right.
while coffee up on the slopes of Mount Kenya gets something totally different.
Wow. That's personalized plant care.
It really is, yeah.
But Kenya's got such a diverse agricultural landscape.
It does.
Who are they targeting with this? Is this just for the big commercial farms?
It seems like their main focus is actually on small and medium-sized farms,
Oh, interesting.
which, they're really the backbone of Kenyan agriculture.
They are.
And those farmers, they often work with, really tight margins.
Yeah, every shilling counts.
Exactly. So affordability and ease of use, those are key.
So it's not just for the big guys, it's about empowering those who feed the nation.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
So they're focused on Kenya, but are they thinking globally?
They are. They've got plans to reach markets like Europe and North America,
Wow.
where the demand for organic and sustainable produce, it's on the rise.
It is.
So they're thinking big.
They are ambitious.
They are, but they're not going to have an easy ride.
I imagine not.
They're up against some major players. You've got existing companies in Kenya. They might be slow to adopt this new tech.
Yeah, it's a big change.
And then you've got global giants like Bayer and Syngenta.
Right. They're already established.
Exactly. But this nano biofertilizer company, They're positioning themselves as the leaders in this new category.
It's like David versus Goliath, but with nanotechnology on their side.
It kind of is, yeah.
But even with a fantastic product, you need a solid plan to break into a market like this.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's their strategy? How are they going to tackle the competition?
From what I can see, it's a multi-pronged approach.
Okay, break it down for me.
First off, they're laser-focused on identifying their audience. So that's farmers, cooperatives, even government institutions.
Right?
The ones who are already on board with sustainable solutions.
Makes sense. Find your people.
Exactly. Then it's about collaboration, teaming up with government programs, NGOs, international organizations, that kind of thing.
So it's about using those existing networks to gain some traction.
Right. Build trust.
But how do you convince farmers who might be a little wary of this whole nanotech thing? It's new, it's different.
That's where education comes in.
Okay.
They're planning workshops, field visits, even setting up these model farms
Oh, cool.
to showcase the technology in action.
So show, don't tell.
Exactly. Let them see it for themselves.
I like that.
But Kenya's a big country.
It is.
How do you reach those remote farming communities?
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Well, here's where Kenya's tech savviness comes in.
Okay, they're ahead of the curve on that, right?
They're going to leverage that high mobile phone usage,
Right.
using SMS platforms, even developing apps
Yeah.
to deliver information straight to a farmer's phone.
I love that.
And on top of that, they're going to do social media campaigns, Facebook, YouTube, even WhatsApp,
Sure.
sharing videos, testimonials from farmers who are already using the product, that kind of thing.
So it's a digital-first approach.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's all about meeting the farmers where they already are.
Right, in the digital world.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting the word out, that's one thing, but getting the product to all these different places.
Yeah, that's another challenge.
That's a whole other hurdle, right?
It is. So they're setting up this regional network of partners,
Okay.
which is crucial for dealing with, all the logistics in Kenya.
Right, the roads, the infrastructure.
Exactly. And they're even looking into microfinancing options
Interesting.
and partnerships with agricultural banks.
So making it easier for farmers to access the funds.
Yeah, addressing that affordability issue head on.
They've thought of everything. But all this planning, does it translate into a viable business model? What do the financials look like?
Well, their projections are pretty impressive.
Okay.
Significant revenue growth over 3 years, with profitability really ramping up in years 2 and 3.
So they're in it for the long haul?
Yeah, and the projections are based on some, reasonable assumptions.
Like what?
Stable prices, positive response from farmers, that sort of thing.
Okay, so it's not pie in the sky thinking.
No, it seems pretty grounded.
But projections are one thing. Reality can be quite different.
True.
So before we get too carried away, let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture of Kenyan agriculture.
Yeah, good point.
We need some context, right?
Absolutely.
What's the current state of play? What are the challenges, the opportunities?
This is an interesting mix. You've got this blend of tradition and modernity.
Okay.
Smallholder farms, they're still the dominant force,
Right.
often relying on, those age-old practices that have been passed down for generations.
Yeah, it's a way of life.
It is, but they're also facing soil degradation, unpredictable weather.
Climate change.
Exactly, and limited access to resources, like good quality seeds and fertilizers.
Stuff.
It is, but there's also this incredible resilience.
Yeah, I've seen that firsthand.
It's inspiring, but with all these challenges, where does technology fit in?
That's the big question. Is there a push for modernization?
There is. The Kenyan government, they've been really proactive.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, promoting initiatives like irrigation, better seed varieties, and making sure farmers have access to credit.
So they're investing in the future of agriculture.
They are, and there's also this burgeoning Agritech sector.
Oh, yeah. There's so much innovation happening in that space.
It's amazing. Startups are popping up all over, tackling everything from pest control to market access.
It's exciting.
It is. So there's this fertile ground for innovation, but also this need to bridge the gap between tradition and technology.
It's a delicate balance, for sure.
And that's what makes this nano biofertilizer story so fascinating.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that.
It's not just about a new product.
It's bigger than that.
It's about how it fits into this complex ecosystem.
Right.
How does it meet the needs of Kenyan farmers?
Yeah, the real on-the-ground needs.
Exactly. And how does it work with, or maybe even challenge, existing practices?
So many questions.
So many questions, and we can't get caught up in the hype of the shiny new tech.
Right, got to look at the bigger picture.
We've seen the company's vision, but now we need to dig deeper.
Yeah, get into the
We
details.
have to understand the potential benefits, but also the risks,
Right.
the regulations, the social and environmental impacts.
We need to be critical, not just accept the marketing at face value.
Exactly. We need to look at this through a critical
And
lens.
that's exactly what we're going to do in part 2 of this deep dive.
Can't wait.
We're going to peel back the layers, analyze the facts, and see if this nano biofertilizer really lives up to its
The
promise.
truth is out there.
Stay tuned.
I'm hooked.
Okay, we've set the stage, explored the company's grand vision, but now it's time to really get into the
Right,
nitty-gritty.
let's break it down.
What makes these nano biofertilizers tick? How do they actually work?
Well, it's fascinating, really. It's this cool blend of organic farming,
Okay.
but with cutting-edge
Ooh,
science.
wow.
The nanoparticles themselves,
Okay.
they're engineered, and they enhance nutrient uptake in a really targeted way.
So it's not just about dumping fertilizer on the field and hoping for the best.
No, not at all. It's much more precise.
Okay.
Imagine, like, microscopic delivery trucks
Oh, wow.
carrying these vital nutrients
Right.
directly to the plant's roots.
So it's all about maximizing efficiency.
Exactly, making sure the plants actually absorb what they need to thrive.
That's really cool. But what kinds of nanoparticles are we talking about?
Well, that's where the research gets really interesting.
Okay.
The sources mention a few different materials like zinc oxide, copper oxide, even carbon nanotubes.
Carbon nanotubes, that sounds pretty high tech.
It is, and each material, it has these unique properties, that affect how they deliver the nutrients
Okay.
and how they interact with the plants.
It's like a nanotech buffet for plants.
Kinda, yeah.
But, you know, I was reading something about potential risks with nanomaterials in the environment.
Yeah, there are definitely some concerns.
So are there any red flags here?
Well, some studies suggest that certain nanoparticles, they might accumulate in the soil
Oh,
or
shit.
even enter the food chain.
Oh.
And we don't really know the long-term effects of that.
Right, it's all pretty new.
It is. And that's where regulation comes in.
Ah, yes, the regulatory maze.
Exactly. Is Kenya ready for this?
Yeah, I mean, are the regulations in place?
It's a good question, and the sources we have, they don't really get into specifics,
Okay.
but we can assume they're going to have to go through safety testing, environmental impact assessments, all that.
Lots of hoops to jump through.
Definitely. And labeling regulations, too.
Right, so consumers know what's what.
Exactly. And Kenya's regulatory framework for nanotechnology, it's still evolving.
So it's uncharted territory in a lot of ways.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So that could be a hurdle for them.
So it's not just about the science, it's about navigating the legal and ethical side of things too.
Absolutely. It's a whole package.
Okay, but let's say, just for argument's sake, they get through all that, the green light, everything's good to go.
Okay, I'm following.
What could this mean for Kenyan agriculture as a whole?
I mean, the implications are pretty significant.
Okay, like what?
If this technology really delivers on its promises, Kenya could potentially reduce its dependence on imported fertilizers.
Oh, that would be huge.
It would. Those imported fertilizers, they're expensive, and the prices can fluctuate wildly.
The global market's unpredictable.
It is, so this could be a game changer for their trade balance.
And for their agricultural independence.
Exactly. More control over their own food production.
That's a powerful argument, but what about the social impact? How could this change the lives of everyday farmers?
Well, imagine, small-scale farmers,
Uh,
they often struggle to afford inputs, right?
yeah, they're working with really thin margins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But suddenly they have access to a fertilizer that's both more affordable and more effective.
That's a game changer.
It could be higher yields,
Okay.
higher incomes, improved livelihoods.
So it's about empowering those who are at the heart of it all.
Right, the ones who are actually growing the food.
But there's another dimension here, the environmental piece.
Oh, absolutely. That's a big one.
If we're using fewer chemical fertilizers,
Right.
that means less soil degradation, less water pollution.
Potentially, yeah.
And then there's the whole issue of greenhouse gases.
Yeah, the emissions from producing and transporting those fertilizers,
It all adds up.
it does. So it's
Yeah.
ticking a lot of boxes, economic, social, environmental.
Sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, let's not get carried away. No solution is perfect.
Right, there are always challenges.
There are. One potential issue is the complexity of the technology.
Okay, so if it's too complicated,
If farmers can't figure out how to use it,
right,
then adoption rates might be low.
so you need training.
Exactly. Education, support, that's key.
It's not just, here's your bag of nano fertilizer, good luck.
No, it's got to be more than that.
And then there's the whole issue of unintended consequences.
Right. Will there be unforeseen impacts on soil biodiversity?
Okay.
Long-term effects on the food chain. We just don't know yet.
So more research is needed.
Definitely. Ongoing monitoring is crucial.
So responsible innovation means acknowledging that there are risks.
And being proactive about addressing them.
Okay, so we've looked at this from the company's perspective.
Right.
But what about the farmers?
Yeah, that's the missing piece of the puzzle, isn't it?
What are their thoughts?
I don't know. The sources we have, they don't really give us any insight into the farmers' experiences.
So we're missing that human element?
We are. It would be so valuable to hear what they think.
Yeah, their first reactions.
Are they excited about this?
Right. Are they hesitant?
What are their hopes? Their fears?
Their expectations.
Exactly. Without that, we're only getting half the story.
It's like we're looking at a picture, but it's only half painted.
Yeah, it's incomplete.
And we need to understand the social and cultural context.
Absolutely. What might be considered a breakthrough in one place
Right.
could face resistance somewhere else.
Or just not work at all.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the global implications of all this.
Okay, yeah, because the challenges facing Kenyan farmers,
Right.
they're not unique to Kenya?
Not at all. Soil degradation, climate change,
Right.
resource scarcity. These are global problems.
Do we all share this planet?
We do. And farmers everywhere are looking for solutions.
So what happens in Kenya could have ripple effects around the world.
It could. It's a microcosm of the larger search for sustainable agriculture.
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
It is. It's not just about nano-biofertilizers.
It's bigger than that.
It's about a fundamental shift in how we think about food production.
Okay.
How do we balance productivity with ecological responsibility?
It's a tough question.
It is, but a crucial one.
Okay, so big picture stuff, I get it, but let's come back down to earth for a minute.
Oh.
We've talked about the potential, the risks, but what about the practicalities?
Right, the nuts and bolts.
How is this company going to actually get this product into the hands of farmers?
Well, they've laid out a pretty detailed operational plan.
Okay, good.
And it all starts with in-depth market analysis.
Makes sense. Know your customer.
Exactly. Understanding the specific needs of Kenyan farmers.
Okay.
The crops they grow, the soil conditions they face. It's all about tailoring the product to fit their reality.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, but research and development, that's just the first step, right?
Right.
How do they scale up production?
They're really emphasizing sustainable production processes.
Okay, like what?
Sourcing ingredients locally whenever possible.
Oh, that's good.
And they're using advanced biotechnology to optimize manufacturing.
So they're walking a walk.
They are. It's not just greenwashing.
Okay, that's good to hear. But even with a great product, you got to get it to the people.
Right. Distribution is key.
And Kenya's got a lot of geographical challenges.
It does. But they've thought about that. Their plan is to set up this strategic distribution network,
Oh?
focusing on those key agricultural regions.
Okay.
And they're partnering with existing players like agricultural cooperatives, local suppliers.
So leveraging those existing networks.
Exactly. And get this, they're even considering mobile distribution units.
Oh, cool. Like a nano fertilizer truck that goes from village to village.
Exactly. Taking it straight to the farmers.
I love that. But access isn't just about physical availability.
Right.
It's about affordability, too.
It is, especially for those small-scale farmers.
Right. They might be hesitant to try something new if it's expensive.
Exactly. So that's where those partnerships with microfinance institutions and agricultural banks come in.
Okay, yeah, we talked about that earlier.
They're working on different financing options, flexible payment plans.
So farmers don't have to shell out a ton of money up front.
Exactly. And there's even talk of potential subsidies.
So really trying to make this accessible.
Absolutely. Breaking down those financial barriers.
But, even if it's available and affordable,
Yeah.
convincing farmers to switch from what they know to something new,
It's a challenge.
it's a big ask.
It is, and that's where their marketing strategy comes in.
Okay, what are they doing?
Well, it's pretty comprehensive. They're not just relying on traditional advertising.
Oh, so they're thinking outside the box.
They are. They're going all in on community engagement.
Okay, I like that.
Workshops, demonstration plots. They're even partnering with agricultural extension officers.
So those are the trusted advisors.
Exactly. The people the farmers already know and respect.
That's smart.
It's all about building trust through education and direct interaction.
Boots on the ground.
Yep. But they're not ignoring the power of digital either.
Right, because Kenya's got that high mobile phone usage.
They do, and they're going to use that to their advantage.
Okay, like how?
SMS platforms, mobile apps, sharing information, training videos, even taking orders.
Wow, so it's like a one-stop shop on their phone?
Pretty much. And then there's social media, Facebook, YouTube, you name it.
Sharing testimonials from farmers who are already using it.
Exactly, showing the real-world impact.
So it's a modern approach.
It is, meeting farmers where they are, literally in the palm of their hand.
Okay, but at the end of the day,
Yeah,
this is a business.
it is.
Will it be profitable?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
The sources we have, they do project some impressive growth
Okay.
and profitability, but we have to remember those are just projections.
Right, they're not guarantees.
Exactly. They're based on assumptions about market adoption.
Right, how many farmers will actually use it?
Exactly. Production costs, all sorts of things.
And those things can change.
They can, but what I find really interesting
Yeah.
is that they're not just focused on profit.
Oh, that's good.
They've built in environmental and social impact metrics.
So they're measuring their success not just in shillings, but in terms of impact.
Exactly. They're tracking things like reduction in chemical fertilizer use, improvement in soil health,
Right.
increase in farmer incomes.
So it's a more holistic approach.
It is. It's not just about the bottom line.
It's about the triple bottom line: people, planet, profit.
Exactly. And that aligns with this growing trend of sustainable investing.
Yeah, investors are looking for companies that are doing good.
They are. And this company seems to be on the right track.
So it's a compelling story, a win-win-win
Potentially. Yeah.
for the company, the farmers, and the environment.
If it all works out.
Right. But there are uncertainties. We've talked about the risks, the regulations,
Right.
the need for more research.
It's a journey, not a destination.
And it sounds like they're approaching this journey with a sense of responsibility.
They are. And a willingness to adapt.
Okay, so for our listener who's been with us on this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the takeaway message?
I think it's this. We need to embrace innovation,
Okay.
but not blindly.
Right, not just jump on the bandwagon.
Exactly. We need to be critical thinkers.
Ask questions.
Weigh the potential benefits against the potential risks.
Look at the big picture.
The social, economic, environmental implications.
And prioritize solutions that are sustainable in the long run.
That's it. The long view.
It's about going beyond the hype, digging into the details, just like we've done here.
Right. And recognizing that innovation, it's not a magic bullet.
It's a process.
It is a process of continuous learning.
Trial and error.
And it requires collaboration, transparency, and a genuine commitment to making the world a better place.
Well said. So we've explored this one example in Kenya.
Right. Just one case study.
But there are so many exciting innovations happening in sustainable agriculture all over the world.
There are. It's a global movement.
So what else are you curious about? What other deep dives should we take?
Oh, I've got a list a mile long.
Let us know and we'll see what we can dig up. Okay, we've talked about the science, the potential benefits, even the risks of this new technology.
Right. The big picture.
Yeah. But now let's get down to the brass tacks. How do they plan to make this happen? How will these nano biofertilizers actually reach the farmers in Kenya?
Well, they got a pretty detailed operational plan laid out, and it all starts with thorough market analysis.
Okay, so understanding the market.
Exactly. Figuring out the specific needs of those Kenyan farmers.
Right, because what works for one farmer might not work for another.
Exactly. So they're looking at like the types of crops they're growing, the soil conditions they face. It's all about tailoring the approach.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal.
No, not at all. It's very customized.
Okay, that makes sense. But research and development, that's just the beginning, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's just the first step.
So how do they scale up production? And how do they ensure the quality stays consistent?
Well, they're really emphasizing sustainable production processes.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Well, they're trying to source their ingredients locally whenever possible.
Oh, that's good.
Keeps it local, reduces the carbon footprint, and they're using some pretty advanced biotechnology to optimize their manufacturing process.
So they're not cutting corners on the sustainability front.
No, they seem to be walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Okay, I like that. But even with the best product in the world, if you can't get it to the people who need it,
Right. Distribution is key.
it's all for nothing. And Kenya, it's got a lot of geographical challenges, right?
It does. The infrastructure isn't always the best, but they've thought about that.
Okay, good.
They want to set up this strategic distribution network,
Right.
focusing on those key agricultural regions, and they're also partnering with existing players,
Like who?
agricultural cooperatives, local suppliers, those who already have a presence in those areas.
So they're leveraging existing networks.
Exactly. It's a smart move. And get this, they're even considering mobile distribution units.
Oh, that's cool. So like a nano fertilizer truck that goes from village to village.
Exactly. Bringing the product straight to the farmers.
I love that. It's so innovative. But even if you can get it to them, can they afford it?
That's a valid concern, especially for those small-scale farmers.
Right, they're already operating on tight margins.
Exactly. So they're exploring partnerships with microfinance institutions, agricultural banks.
Okay, so offering loans and financing options.
Exactly. Making it easier for farmers to access the capital they need to buy the product.
Okay, that's good. They've thought of that, but, even if it's available and affordable.
Yeah, you still got to convince people to use it.
It's a new technology, it's different. Some farmers might be hesitant.
Oh, absolutely. Changing habits is never easy, so they've come up with a pretty comprehensive marketing strategy.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Well, they're not just relying on traditional advertising, they're going all in on community engagement.
Okay, I like that. Get the community involved.
Exactly. They're planning workshops, setting up demonstration plots where farmers can see the product in action, and they're even working with those agricultural extension officers.
Oh, yeah, the ones who are already working with the farmers, they're trusted advisors.
Exactly. They have that credibility, so it's a smart move to partner with them.
Definitely. But they're not ignoring the digital world either, right?
Oh, no, they've got a savvy digital strategy, too.
Okay, tell me more.
They're going to leverage Kenya's high mobile phone usage.
Right, almost everyone has a phone there.
So they're going to use SMS platforms, develop mobile apps, share information, provide training videos, even let farmers place orders through their phones.
Wow, that's amazing. So much can be done with a phone these days.
It really is. And of course, they're going to be active on social media.
Right, Facebook, YouTube, all that.
Exactly. Sharing testimonials from farmers who have already used the product, showing the real world results.
So it's a very modern approach.
It is. Meeting farmers where they are, literally in the palm of their hand.
Okay, so they've got a plan, but is it a profitable plan?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
Mm.
At the end of the day, this is a business.
It has to make money.
It does. And the sources we have, they project significant growth and profitability.
Okay, that's good.
But we have to remember, those are just projections. They're based on certain assumptions.
Right, about market adoption, production costs, all sorts of variables.
Exactly. And those things can change. The market can be unpredictable.
It can, so we have to take those projections with a grain of salt.
We do. But what I find really encouraging is that they're not just focused on maximizing profit.
Oh, that's good to hear.
They've built in environmental and social impact metrics into their business model.
So they're measuring their success not just in terms of money, but in terms of positive impact.
Exactly. They're tracking things like the reduction in chemical fertilizer use,
Okay.
the improvement in soil health, the increase in farmer incomes. It's a much more holistic approach.
It is. It's about more than just the bottom line.
It's about the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit.
Exactly. And that resonates with a lot of people these days, especially investors.
Oh, absolutely. More and more investors are looking for companies that are doing good in the world, not just making money.
So this company is tapping into that trend of sustainable investing.
They are, and that could give them a real edge.
It's a compelling story. It could be a win-win-win for everyone involved, the company, the farmers, and the environment.
Potentially, yes. But we also have to be realistic. There are uncertainties.
Right, we've talked about the risks, the regulatory hurdles, the need for ongoing research.
It's a journey. It's not like they've got it all figured out already.
And it sounds like they're approaching this journey with a sense of humility, a willingness to learn and adapt.
They are. They're not claiming to have all the answers.
Okay, well, that's refreshing.
It is. And they seem genuinely committed to finding solutions that benefit everyone.
So for our listeners who have been with us on this deep dive into the world of nano biofertilizers in Kenya,
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
what's the key takeaway? What should they be thinking about as they navigate this complex world of sustainable agriculture and technological innovation?
I think the most important thing is this. We have to embrace innovation, but not blindly.
Right, not just get swept up in the hype.
Exactly. We have to be critical thinkers, ask tough questions, weigh the potential benefits against the risks.
Do our own research.
Exactly. And we have to think about the big picture, the social, economic, and environmental impacts, and ultimately we have to prioritize solutions that are truly sustainable in the long run.
It's about taking that long view, not just looking for quick fixes.
Exactly. And it's about being informed, doing our due diligence, just like we've tried to do in this deep dive.
And recognizing that innovation, it's not a magic bullet. It's a process of continuous learning and improvement.
In a process that requires collaboration, transparency, and a genuine commitment to making the world a better place.
Well said. That's a great note to end on. And, We've explored this one example in Kenya,
One small piece of the puzzle.
but there are so many other exciting innovations happening in the world of sustainable agriculture all over the globe.
There are, and it's constantly evolving.
So what other topics are you curious about? What other deep dives should we take?
Well, I've got a whole list, but I want to hear from our listeners. What are they interested in?
Yeah, let us know. Send us your questions, your ideas, and we'll see what we can dig up.
We're always up for a challenge.
That's right. So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep digging deep into the world around you. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.